S Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today.
It's another crown jewel race. We saw Daytona to finish off the regular season, and now for the half value Southern 500 to start it off for the playoffs. We're live here tonight from Darlington Raceway. It's the Chapman Cup Series, and it's playoff time for the Sweet 16 here on V-Speed. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Alex Gagnon, and camera packs provided by Dougie Beard here tonight. Alex, if you're, if you got the 9 on the side of your door, you're sitting pretty right now to start this thing off.
Yeah, and that's probably about the end of the list of the drivers who should feel any sort of comfort coming to the track Too Tough to Tame here tonight. You know, this is one of those facilities that will chew up just about anyone on the racetrack if you're not careful. You see the playoff bracket on your screen, the 16 drivers eligible to go out there and try to win a championship this year. Guys like Jeremy Burns, who won 9 times, all the way down to the folks toward the bottom who pointed their way in to be eligible to race for a championship come Phoenix.
Yeah, and then you see Trevor Keith there. We'll take a look at those actual numbers now. Trevor Keith, 4 points. That's what separated Caleb Gilbert and Trevor Keith. Kevin Orlando, of course, there was a lot that went on at Daytona. A lot of good cars got taken out, and it was must-win situations. There's some of those drivers that came oh so close. We had Picklesheimer up there. We had Kevin Orlando, who was on the edge, and Parker Johnson, Michael Call up towards the front there to finish that race off. But it was Justice Murphy, the one takeaway that I had from that. He just had an abysmal day in the final race.
Yeah, he really did, and that's going to be why he will not be running for a championship. But it's also to that point, I mean, these guys ran 23, 24 races before this cut line happened, so, you know, losing out by only a couple of points over several months of competition, you know, just get a spot here or there, and that's all the difference.
Race analysis coming up on your screen. We could take a look at this egg-shaped oval, but of course we've been here before. We'll take a look at 184 laps and 45-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit. Tire sets available, 5 with 2 green-white checkered attempts in the stage at lap 58, of course on the iRacing fixed setup. But now it's time to take you trackside, get that grid up on the screen. I got a little bit of a late start here tonight. We had some technical issues, but Jeremy Burns with a 28.798. Looking good for the start of this one. He'll have Travis Gilbert to the outside. Coastal Financial Pole Award going to Jeremy Burns. Run number 2 goes to Dakota Floyd with Tyler Harrison. Then it's back to Alex Forget and Carter Lenz for row number 3. Trevor Erhardt, Trevor Keith side by side, 7th and 8th. In the top 10, Dylan Picklesheimer, Kyle Stewart. We're just going to let this grid continue to flow across the bottom of your screen as we get set to go green. Sorry to cut you off there, Alex, but we just ran out of time. We're getting playoff times now. And it's just fast paced. You got to perform every week, and we're going to do it here. Here we go. Live from Darlington. Green flag, and Jeremy Burns into turn 1. Jeremy Burns leads lap number 1. The Coastal Financial Pole Award. Keeps the top spot. I know Jeremy performs well at this racetrack, Alex. We've seen him dominate a lot of the season, but it kind of went cold there towards the tail end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, not that he performed particularly poorly, but by his own standards of how he started the season, definitely a bit of a fall off. So we'll see if he gets back on the horse here tonight at Darlington. A very much a driver's track where you race the track more than your competition necessarily. This is one where you just have to be sure not to overdo it at any given point. As you see these guys coming off of 2. And even from this camera angle, you get a really good sense of just how skewed and warped this racetrack is. Paved all the way back in the late 1940s. First race here was 1950. The configuration basically identical to the way it was laid out then, and really creates some unique challenges and passing opportunities on this track as Dakota Floyd and Travis Gilbert side by side for that second spot just behind the leader.
Floyd, of course, came so close several times. He's had some podium finishes, but was never able to find a victory here on Wednesday night. He would love to start getting it done and get to victory lane, seal his way into that top 12. This playoff bracket, it happens quick. You feel like you have enough, but if you have one bad race at any moment, you can be eliminated.
Yeah, you really can. That's the thing is, this sort of win in advance sort of format, you think consistency isn't that important. And it may be less important than a full season championship, but it is still a very important part of this playoff format to at least you can't afford to have a bad day. Because with each round only being 3 races, one bad day could sink your title chances over the remaining 10 races of the season here.
Everybody getting a stripe off of turn 2 just now. We had Alex Forget, Trevor Erhardt, a few others hit the wall. 45 of Tyler Harrison. New paint scheme on that machine. Let me get a good look at this. That's a sharp looking car.
That certainly is. Bringing out some new paint for the postseason is that 45 machine. Currently running in the 6th spot, trying to track down Trevor Erhardt in the 41. That might be a battle for 5th here going into 1. But against it, it is really tough to go side by side through 1 and 2 at this racetrack. And now I'm looking at it, actually it was on the wrong side of the track. That was 3 and 4 they were coming out of. And you think if there's any track I wouldn't get that wrong, it would be here where the 2 corners are so very distinctly different. But lo and behold, we are mere mortals up here in the broadcast booth as well. Maybe not in the cockpit of the 9 right now, though. Burns already a half second out over Dakota Floyd here, 8 laps in.
Yeah, he's a machine right now. He knows the clean air is oh so important. It's hard to pass here. We saw it in the counterpart. When we were watching live cup racing, the 19 held the lead. Once Reddick got to him, he just could not pass. And it's that dirty air bubble of about 3/10. Once you get into that, it just kind of takes that front downforce away. And for Dakota Floyd, Travis Gilbert, everybody's single file around this place right now. And you were talking about how different these corners are. We'll go on board here with Travis Gilbert and watch the telemetry. So coming off of turn 4, he's about 145 miles per hour. Tires are still relatively fresh. We're going to go about 160 through this corner. And we're going to wall ride. So this is where you kind of double apex. You come out low, try to stay flat. And then down this back straightaway, you can use the safer barrier, but don't use it too much. It's down to 140 miles per hour, maybe even lower as these tires start to wear. And yeah, he's going to have to check up even more. Floyd's getting a little tight.
The car not rotating the way he wants it, which is a prime opportunity for the 22 to pounce. But Darlington, notorious for being one of the hardest racetracks on the circuit to make a pass, just because of how narrow the lanes are at 3/4 of the way around this racetrack. So Travis Gilbert may be able to push the advantage here, but he really has to set this pass up. As you see, speaking of pass, that's Justice Murphy going to work his way around Michael Bennett. That's the 16th position as the 12's going to go on by.
And the 89 of Michael Call is going to try to follow him through there as they come out of turn 4. Almost 3 wide, peaking there in the middle for Kyle Diaz. We're going to stay side by side. It's difficult off of 4. Bennett's able to defend the position.
Taking a look
Nice
off
tight.
the back. Oh, yeah. And once again, I have a feeling we're going to see that a lot tonight with the fixed setup. You know, these setups that are the fixed ones, never a perfect, and Darlington notoriously hard to make a good setup for because both ends of the racetrack are so different. You can typically have a car that might handle all right on one side of the racetrack that does not do what you want it to do on the other side. And I have a feeling as tires start going away here, we're going to see a lot of drivers really struggle to get that car to rotate, especially in 1 and 2.
And if you're looking here, you're noticing a gap from around 16th position up to 15th. It's pretty sizable. It's about 9/10 from Justice Murphy and Trevor Keith. Trevor Keith, we were watching the pace. Look at the left-hand side of your screen. The difference between Burns and the clean air, and even just Floyd, but then go down to around 20th position. These drivers are 4 to 5 tenths off.
And that's not even necessarily a pace thing because qualifying was far closer than that. It is simply, to your point, you know, the dirty air. Once these tires start going away, you start getting into the wash, you just have nowhere to go. And that car starts to get really unhappy. You see Michael Call clip the wall there that time around. They'll make their way back to the stripe. Bennett leading Call for that position. They're running 17th at the moment. As we jump up a little bit closer, that's Rob Rader. Carter Lynn's doing a little bit of work here. That's the 66 trying to get into the top 5 is ahead of them. You can see that side-by-side battle for second was continuing. Dakota Floyd
contact!
into the wall.
Floyd not happy
just
about
like
it.
that. No kidding. I think there was a little bit of contact there between Gilbert and Floyd off of 4. Got the 22 sideways, got the 57 into the fence, and now Alex Forget gonna pounce, and the 19's up to 3rd.
We need to take this back on an instant replay and watch what happens here coming off of turn 4. Floyd's holding his own. I think the 22 came up into him, personally.
Yeah, it's from that angle, from the distance, it's a little tough. Either he tagged him slightly or there was just a little bit of net code there. Either way, that was a really tight line. We'll take one more look here, a good bit closer as they come off of turn 4. And yeah, I think he just tags him right in the QR code there on the left rear. And that's going to drop Dakota Floyd from 2nd, ultimately the 4th. And now the 22 going to work and try to reel in race leader Jeremy Burns. There you see Dakota Floyd. Only lost 2 positions, so it could have been worse, but definitely not happy with the way this race has started. And I'm sure that's something the 57 is going to remember the next time he's racing alongside the 22.
So holding it fourth position, we've got a car maybe losing control back here into the wall. Heavy contact for Michael Bennett.
Oh, and that car really does not look happy right now.
Broken right front suspension. Trying to
that wheel's
salvage it.
not moving. Take one more look here. He's already out of sorts.
Wow.
Overcorrects coming off the apron and hard into that fence off of turn 2. Take one more look here. You can see where this falls apart, how stacked up they go into turn 1. Really hard to run side by side here. 14 just gets loose.
I mean, he saved it down on the apron, but then he transitions back up the racetrack. I think one more time would do it justice here with the onboard. Or steps out. He has it saved about right here. But he gets back on that transition and it sends him up the racetrack. And
yeah, you could tell that, he wasn't trying to get on the throttle too much. He was trying to get that car to stop from shifting down into the inside wall. You see the wheel was getting worked and just spent a little too much time facing that right wall. And up the track he went into the outer retaining wall, and that was all she wrote for the 14. A tough start and a tough day for Michael Bennett. Now the second car off the racetrack, Joe Gioia off the racetrack as well in the number 7.
So Jeremy Burns continues to lead, coming up on that stage at lap 58. We're just about at that halfway mark, and the 9 car Metroplex Ford Mustang is showing why he was leading the points coming into the playoffs. He's leading this race by about half a second. Dominant performance. Travis Gilbert got up to second spot. He started up here, lost it on the initial start, got around Dakota Floyd, Alex Forget Berube. And this is one of the guys that, kind of a lukewarm regular season, if you ask me. He's notorious for finding a way to win at the very end of every event. He always finds his way back up front. We did not see that a lot this year.
We saw it a bit very early on when the 19 rattled off a couple of wins, but really through the summer hit a bit of a slump. Have not seen a lot of Forget lately, but I feel like this is one of those tracks, Bradley, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like a track very much where we'll see Forget kind of hang around this top 5 a good bit of the night and then really try to pounce on it in the closing 50 laps. This feels like a racetrack that is really stylized to the way the 19 likes to run these races.
Absolutely, and I'll have to get the exact statistics here on Racing Revolution for how Alex Forget performs, but yeah, I want to say that he, if not a win, has had some podiums here. We've talked to him before. Of course, Darlington is one of those tracks that you either love it or you hate it, and it kind of falls in that ballpark of the unique circumstance, like Dover, like the track we're going to next week at Gateway. It's one of those love-hate relationships, and you can tell half this field not liking it right now. Kyle Stewart back here in 14th. Pretty sizable gap, as you can kind of see this field splitting in half.
Yeah, starting to fan out, start to open up, and this was very reminiscent to what the Cup Series race here looked like a couple days ago. The field really spreads out, and you'll have these periodic side-by-side battles like what Michael Reed's in the middle of here. That's him fighting for this 11th position with John Fike, as the two of them will really get into it in the 1. Fike takes that spot away for now, the 65. Gonna make that move, and now Michael Reed gonna try to get back to the bumper here. But these guys battling 7 seconds off the race lead just because it's tough to run side by side lap after lap here as Reed tags the outside wall, and he gives Fike a little bit of help coming off of 4.
Like sideways off of the turn 4. We saw them leaning on each other just as we were talking about the separation there. We were talking about the 10 of Kyle Stewart. He ends up gaining a couple spots out of this.
Yeah, he certainly does. Worked out really nicely. They're now battling with Nick Alves. That's that battle for 12th. Kyle Stewart in the mix. Fike slides up a little bit, tags Alves just barely. Two of them going to lose some momentum there, which allows Kyle Stewart to pull away just a little bit.
The 12 of Justice Murphy trying to get around the 24 now. as the top 10 has spread out tremendously. Of course, this battle, Dylan Picklesheimer down one position. He is gaining, though, catching up a little bit here to Matt Robinson in the 11th.
And, we were talking a little bit earlier, Bradley, about, just some of the previous results here from Darlington when we came back here in April several months ago. And the gentleman running second right now was your winner of that event. Travis Gilbert won the spring race here at Darlington, and Alex Forget with a top 5 that time around as well. So trending good for both of those guys, as I think Rob Rader going to peel off down pit road.
Yes, he is. So maybe trying to flip this stage a little bit. See how this pans out. Maybe a little early, though.
Well, he's certainly the first one to make the move down pit road here. Although he will not be the only one soon. The fuel window here tonight, about 35 to 38 laps, maybe a tad less. So, he'll be the first one down, but within the next 5 laps or so, I think we'll see a lot more, as there's Travis Gilbert and Trevor Erhardt making their stops now.
Dylan Picklesheimer also going to follow down the pit lane. There's Michael Bennett on the right-hand side with his heavy right front damage. Tough break for that car tonight. Not going to be able to get back into this thing. He's now 12 laps down as the 22 finds his stall.
Into the box they go. Not the only one getting service done, as Trevor Erhardt gets the right sides up as well. And now we got some more takers. Here comes the race leader, Jeremy Burns, going to make the long drive down pit road. It's a very slow pit road here at Darlington. 45 miles an hour, agonizingly long under green flag conditions. And you just can't help but want to try to speed up, try to get back on the racetrack, because you feel like you lose so much time here on pit road, but it's just the price to pay for getting new tires and topping off on fuel.
But Alex Forget's going to stay out a little bit longer here. He said the window about 35 to 38 laps, and we're approaching lap 34 on this stint. For Alex Forget, this could benefit. Maybe if he stays out long enough in this stage, 20 laps, he could get back up there. But for every lap he ticks away, you've got Dakota Floyd and a few others that have brought it down pit road that could be catching up to him. Down and away for the 57 now.
Yeah, and that really is something that you keep in mind. Just Darlington really is a place where you'll see some tire wear kick in. Alex Forget, the race leader right now, is running about 0.8 a lap. Yeah, 0.8 a second slower right now than he was at the start of this run. So we're really seeing him start to fall off a little bit. That time it was 0.9 off from his fastest lap. So every lap you stay on these older tires, you're going to lose some time to those who already came down pit road. But with the stage at lap 58 tonight, a lot of time to make up some ground once you do stop, as it looks like he's going to be coming in this time by.
One of the more difficult pit roads. We didn't really touch on that, but it is so difficult to get to pit lane on this racetrack. You're pretty much starting your pit stop at turn 3, and you're riding the brakes all the way to the bottom of this racetrack with 3 different banking transitions. It's very easy to lock it up. Or sideways back here. I think that's the Candyman in 21.
Yeah, I think it was. He's getting back up the speed now, but lost some room there, lost some pace. Here he is here with the 57 of Dakota Floyd, who just gives him a little bump and run action. And Holloway's going to hold on to it. But yeah, the 57 just moved him out of the way there in 3 and 4. And now Holloway's coming down pit road. I wonder if that's what he was trying to do last time and just couldn't get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Here you can see Trevor Keith. Looks like he might have been trying to get down pit road, or he's just getting out of the way of some of these cars that have pressure tires. But the 15 car will take over and get a lap led. And this goes back to what we were talking about in the pre-race. We talked about Trevor Keith several times prior to the end of the cutoff, and we still didn't know if he was going to be able to make it in. It was almost a have to win situation, but somehow the cards fell exactly the way they needed to, and the 15 makes it.
Yeah, and I'm sure he is very appreciative to have a new lease on championship life here. As you see the 15 now making his stops. There's the onboard with Trevor Keith.
I'm just glad we didn't have to bring up the pit barrel graphic. That would have been good.
Yeah, that would not have been great. And that's certainly a possibility here today with how tough it is to get on and off a pit road around here.
You know what? We'll put it up anyway.
There it is. The pit barrel cam.
Looking pretty excited on pit road here.
Yeah, no kidding.
He avoided the barrels. I'd be pretty happy too.
Yeah, no kidding. He down on the way for the 15. We appreciate Trevor Keith as always for sharing the driver cams for tonight. And up at the front of the field right now, Spring Darlington winner Travis Gilbert has cycled to the lead here. He pit really early. Only car he didn't pit earlier then was Rob Rader, who's up to 5th at this point. So Travis Gilbert going to have the track position, but slightly older tires for the remaining 18 laps of this run to the stage break.
And Alex, on top of that, he took 2 to get out to this lead. That's how it cycled out. He was 9.9 in the box, so 2 tires to get him to the end of this stage. But we've seen the 22 do this before, and it paid off.
That is one thing I will definitely say about Travis Gilbert is that not only is he one of the more aggressive cars when it comes to pit strategy and taking 2 tires, he also seems to always be doing it when it will work out for him. This is honestly, I think, a great move. You see this time differential between him, Forget, Floyd, and Burns. Honestly, not too different. He's running great lap times with that clean air in front of him. And I think this call could very well net him the stage win here right now.
19 of Alex Forget did the same thing. 2 tires on his stop. I think Dakota Floyd took a little more fuel than he intended to. I think he's on 2 tires as well. And then it's Jeremy Burns that actually did take 4 tires, running in 4th spot.
Yeah, and the 9, he led the opening 30-some laps of this race, but may not be picking up the stage win here, depending on if he's able to reel these guys in. But the lap times very identical across the top 4 right now, so wouldn't count on it. As Dakota Floyd going to tag the wall there through 3 and 4. That could bring the 9 a little bit closer to try to make a move in the 1. A little too far away this time, but certainly going to give it a go.
Close call with the wall there for just a moment. 57 off of turn 2. He's going to brush it. Everybody's getting a Darlington stripe off of turn 2 tonight. Look at this.
That's how you know you're... Yeah, and you see the amount of cars tagging the wall off of 2. Just the way it goes here at Darlington. If you don't clip the wall at least once, you're not trying to push it out to the wall far enough.
I want to say Trevor Keith got a black flag at some point, maybe exiting pit road. He is now a lap down, 23rd position. This is not how you want the playoffs to start.
The other thing he needs to keep an eye on here is right now he is not the free pass car. That would go to Jacob Sirkovich in the 5. And you see Sirkovich quite a ways away from the 15 not even in the shot. So Trevor Keith really behind the 8 ball here early. It looks like with about 13 laps to go in the stage, lap traffic could become a little bit of a factor here for the leaders. And Daniel Holloway, Nick Alves close to 30 seconds off from the race lead, which is about how long it takes to run the lap here. So a couple cars maybe going a lap down before we hit the stage break tonight.
Floyd trying to hold his own. He still has about 11 laps left to do it. Gilbert continuing to stretch that lead out. Over Alex Forget, 3.8 seconds. And unless we get a caution, it looks like the 22 of Gilbert's going to lock up stage number 1.
Yeah, he's running really good right now, trying to track down Nick Alves. The 24 trying to stay on the lead lap here. Tall order, though, with this much time left in the stage and the gap only being about 2 car lengths. Then up ahead of them, that's Holloway. You can see in front of you. This is one of those races where even at half distance, Bradley, it is still a very long race, though, at a very difficult track. So even when you have an advantage like Travis Gilbert has, a healthy 3.84 second lead over second place, you still need to stay as focused as possible and hitting your marks, running your line, because it only takes being off kilter a little bit to do some really significant damage to the race car. And that just escalates a little bit when you're starting to deal with lap traffic, because then you start getting into the mindset of trying to make passes. And that's not an easy thing at this racetrack.
No, you can see Jeremy Burns, who's really good about getting around guys, is struggling to get by 2 tires. And the advantage that you get by time, it doesn't seem to balance out. We haven't seen these tires level off, and the guys that took 2 seem to actually be leveled off, I guess is what I really mean to say, right from the start.
I am surprised to see how well the 2 tires are holding up here. Obviously, Darlington, a track that really can put some wear on the right front. But seems like these guys doing a good job at keeping it in one piece here and able to run some really steady lap times, even with the 4 tires on the 9 machine. That gap really close. They're also closing in on Alex Forget in second. As we jump back here, that's Dylan Picklesheimer and Matt Robinson. This is the battle for 9th, 10th, 11th as Michael Reed knocking on the door of the top 10.
Remember, we got 2 of our final race winners. They're racing right now in contact on Picklesheimer. Sideways for the 35. He saved it. Oh, Michael Reed up the track in 3 and 4. That was a close call.
It was an incredibly close call. The Richmond winner from 2 weeks ago almost had some significant damage. He gets tangled up here with Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer trying to hold on to it as well. That 35 has been really fast the past few weeks. Not fighting for a championship, but certainly looking for that first win of the season. And tonight could be that night. He's had some really good pace over the past month or so.
I was going back there to talk about, we've had 2 different winners in the last 2 races. Before I was interrupted, Matt Robinson getting his way in. Michael Reed at Richmond locked his way into the playoffs. And these 2 drivers, 9th and 11th. Michael Reed needs to get back up here around Dylan Picklesheimer. I think that's what he was stabbing for. It just couldn't complete the pass in 3 and 4.
Yeah, that certainly does feel like what was going on, especially with, the opportunity to try to snag a stage point here. Every point helps when trying to put together a run to the next round, especially in Michael Reed's case, who's starting from the bottom half of that playoff bracket with only the 1 win. We'll see if he can work his way past Dylan Picklesheimer, about 4 car lengths back right now, and has a couple laps to try to reel in that number 35. And Picklesheimer, of course, not going to make it easy, because he's trying to stick those stage points to try to get that track position as well.
Burns still on offense for the 3rd position, has not found a way around Dakota Floyd. It's been 2 tenths continuously, and we're coming up on 4 to go in the stage. He's got to make something happen if he wants 1 more spot. Does he sit here content, or does he try to get around the 50-70, brushes the wall off of 4?
The one benefit that Jeremy Burns has with his point situation at the moment is that he doesn't necessarily need to force something to happen, because he has a pretty healthy advantage. But also knowing Jeremy Burns, he's not going to be content to just taxi around here behind Floyd if he has the ability to make the pass before the end of the stage.
Well, it's good to see that he got rid of the Cowboys logo on that bed. Looks like he's moving back into the dorm. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before that all gets laid back out, but
we can celebrate in the interim.
Yeah. We can celebrate in the interim, and, maybe he's converting to be a Packers fan. Who knows?
Hey, maybe. You never know. So we're on board here. Only a couple laps to go on the stage. You can see right now, just very calculated, trying to figure out where the opening's going to be. Dakota Floyd hasn't really given him one yet, though.
Yeah, this window, it's so short here at Darlington. You can get to the inside briefly, but you got to have faith that the guy next to you isn't going to push down the racetrack. I can see how they're double diamonding those corners. We talked about the line a little bit ago. And you can get to their inside on the entry, but once that driver throttles up, he has the preferred line on the middle portion of the corner. And once he cuts down for that exit, you better be committed to where you're going to go or he's going to come across your nose.
Yeah, absolutely. As we hear now on lap 58, last time around in this stage, lap traffic and Nick Alves holding up Travis Gilbert a good bit here at the 24. Going to maybe be able to hold on to a lead lap run here in the stage. Forget has gotten from 3 seconds back to 1, although I do not believe it'll be enough as they make their way off of turn 4.
And there he is, Travis Gilbert. He won in the spring. He's going to get stage 1 here in late summer. Playoff race stage 1 goes to Travis Gilbert.
"22 laps led." Everything after that pit cycle, the two-tire call worked out beautifully for the driver of the 22. Up on your screen, only the drivers who picked up stage points this time around. Forget, Floyd, Burns, and Rader, your top 5. The 53 with that early pit was able to jump a couple spots here. Good call for the 4-time champ. Harrison, Erhardt, Linz, Robinson, and Reed in the top 10. So basically everybody in this top 10, actually I do believe everybody in this top 10 playoff drivers. So big stage points for those 10 guys in this hunt because just about everyone there was able to capitalize.
So Travis Gilbert going to lead them down pit road. Alex Forget still trying to get caught up to the back end. We're going to see an accordion effect here on the entrance of pit road.
And this is not a particularly kind pit road. That could get a little calamitous. And, oh. All right, I'm not going to lie, from that camera angle, I thought we were about to have another taker for the KSX pit barrels. Not to be that time, but Michael Reed cut it really close coming onto pit road.
Contact there with Alex Forget and the 57 of Dakota Floyd. Forget trying to find his stall. I think he missed it. No, he's got it. 19 all the way up here, but he is driving very slow down pit road. I don't know if maybe the 19 ran out of fuel. He did.
Yeah, he cut it a little too fine. Got the stage points for it, but man, got to lose a ton of track position here as everyone that was behind him now peeling off in front of him. That's a really tough break for the 19. And those are the kind of things that you just can't have happen in a situation like this where it's only 3 races to determine who advances to the next round, because every mistake just becomes that much more heightened as we are concluding coverage of the opening stage here tonight from Darlington Raceway.
Don't go anywhere. Stage number 2 for playoff race number 1 coming up right after this. Racing Revolution in the Chapman Cup Series back live on V-Speed in just a moment.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today.
Welcome back live for stage number 2. Travis Gilbert, your stage 1 winner, leads him into turn 1. Jeremy Burns on the outside of Rob Rader, the 4th time back into the picture.
He's going to be side by side with Burns off of turn 2. How are they going to sort this one out as they make their way down the backstretch? It's still going to be door to door, and that is just going to let Travis Gilbert slip away here. Now over a half a second as Burns will clear for 2nd. Rader falls back to 3rd. Floyd and Harrison will sit into the top 5, and now everyone's going to go to work trying to pick each other off one by one.
Watching Rader drive on the apron on the entry of turns 3 and 4. I thought he was going to spin the thing out, but he held on to it.
He did a really good job making that happen. See now on board with the 53. I mean, we've talked about it a good bit this season. Obviously, this season not necessarily what we've come to expect from Rob Rader. But right now, putting in a really solid drive to kick off this postseason campaign. He's up there. Oh, Robinson. And he saved it. Wow, kept it off the wall. Oh, but Kyle Diaz definitely not able to save that one.
So the 11 goes sideways. We had the camera on him, and then suddenly Kyle Diaz is facing the outside wall down the backstretch.
That all started coming out of turn 2. Something tells me they were still side by side. Someone may have caught that bump, and around they went.
There's a big checkup here with Picklesheimer, and I think that's what triggered it. 26 wasn't ready for that checkup. Look at him snake around. Excellent job locking it down to keep these guys out of harm's way. But you go to the 11, look how much he chased this car down the racetrack. I mean, that's all the way to the inside wall.
Yeah, I did a fantastic job keeping it off the fence. And to your point about that accordion effect, it was Robinson, I want to say Michael Reed behind him, where that initial bit of contact started that cycled back the Picklesheimer into Diaz, and you see just how quickly it happened. Diaz didn't really have a place to go, and just going to have to slide it down the back straightaway. Damage, though, could have been a lot worse, I think, for Kyle Diaz. I don't think that car is going to be too beat up.
This kind of rotates the strategy. I know tires just as important as track position, but for everybody in the top 10, it's stay out this time by. Only 5 laps under green, and we barely really, I think we only turned maybe 3 under green. We have 6 laps on this stint, so we didn't even really get a heat cycle in these things, and everyone decides that it's time to stay out. I think it's a perfect opportunity, though, to bring up a driver. And what do you say you find Rob Rader? Dial him up here for a moment.
Let's see if we can bring in Rob. Here we go.
Rob Rader, it's Bradley Cooper, Alex Gagnon in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, Rob, looking like you're back to tip-top shape here, running in the podium spot right now, running 3rd. But Darlington, just track position, track position, track position.
Absolutely, yeah. It was pretty much a war to get up, starting 11th to where we're at here, and a little help picking up a few spots on pit cycle, and then picked a couple up there on that last one. Definitely helped. It's really hard to pass out here, and even with a little tire advantage, the dirty air makes it really difficult to find a way to get around a guy. So, yeah, we got it cut out for us here, but you know, this first round in the playoffs is 3 pretty tough tracks. You just try to keep it in one piece and hopefully just make your way to the next round. That's my game plan here tonight. So far, so good.
So far, so good, but still got a lot of racing left to be done. We're not even at that halfway mark. Anybody you want to shout out real quick before we put you back?
Yeah, just shout out to EXR, P4, Chapman Environmental Services. Let's hope for a pretty calm, cool, and collected next 120 laps.
A Raider going to restart here and around the 3rd, 4th position. Good luck.
Thank you.
He's got his teammate there on the inside, but don't be confused. The 22 is the command car for this restart. He elected to take the outside, so that's going to put the 9 and the 53 at a disadvantage. This could help Dakota Floyd on this restart if he can time it just right. Here we go. for another one after Kyle Diaz goes sideways on the backstretch. Green flag back underway at Darlington.
They'll make their way into the corner. We'll see if anyone tries getting down to the apron. Didn't look like it that time around. Oh, some more cars clipping the wall. I think that was Trevor Erhardt going through turns 1 and 2. And they are just absolutely flying. It is always really striking at Darlington versus a lot of other racetracks just how fast these cars truly get up the speed. As someone there scrubbing the fence, that car now at the back of the field. I want to say that was Justice Murphy, who lost a ton of time through 3 and 4.
Dakota Boy was not able to capitalize on that scenario of restarting behind Travis Gilbert. And so he'll fall back to the 4th position. 45 of Tyler Harrison. He's come to play today. He's up to 5th again.
And he's closing in on the back bumper of Dakota Floyd here as they make their way down the front straightaway. Going into turn 1, nothing going just yet, but hanging right to that back bumper. And this is a little bit of what Rob Rader was talking about just a second ago, you know. It is really difficult to pass here, so you kind of just need to capitalize. When someone makes a mistake, it makes it a real war to actually go out and grab one of these positions. So Tyler Harrison just trying to keep himself in the mix. That's Michael Reed, who got up almost into the fence there for a second. And things are getting side by side with Erhardt, and I want to say that's the 35 of Picklesheimer going to go on by.
What a send in the 1.
Spot. Yeah,
what
beautifully done.
That's a part of an art there at Darlington. If you can learn to run that line, and if you're to the inside down the front stretch, you can send it down there below that white line and clear that guy. I remember back in the early 2000s, maybe around 2008, where drivers were actually racing down there. It was the preferred line, if you can believe that, with the COT.
It really is wild how this track has evolved. I mean, and to that point, when this place was first created, what is now the apron was supposed to be the racetrack. The part that's now the racetrack was supposed to be the runoff area until someone learned, oh, hey, it's actually a lot faster to go up on the banking. And they've been running up there ever since, trying to find what groove's going to be the best. But in this Gen 7 car, it is typically getting all the way up to that fence in turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, if you're brave enough. That's the other side of it. Do you want to drag those brakes hard enough? Can you do it consistently as we ride on board again? This is with Picklesheimer. Watch through 3 and 4. A lot of these drivers are shy, but Picklesheimer's right up next to it.
Yeah, we'll take a look here on board the 35. Gets a great run here. Holy, just going to roar on past Michael Reed. And now Picklesheimer is up to 6th. Puts about a car length and a half distance on the 91 as well. And now he's going to see if he can reel in Tyler Harrison, maybe break into the top 5 here. It's been a really spirited drive so far for Picklesheimer.
So there's the numbers on your screen. What Clean Air has done for Travis Gilbert. He's on 4 fresh ones now. He was able to maintain a pretty good gap with 2 tires, but you put these guys on even tires and Clean Air. Gilbert, 1.1 seconds ahead of Jeremy Burns. So far, so good for the spring winter.
Yeah, he's in really good shape at the moment. 1.2 seconds clear of the pole sitter. And then once you get a little further on back, you can see how this field is spread out a little bit in this top group. And then everything's starting to get stacked up behind Trevor Erhardt. They fanned out a little bit there, but the further you get into this pack, the more side-by-side, the more clusters of cars you're starting to see. And those are the cars that have less clean air to be afforded. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing them really kind of get stacked up on top of each other when someone gets a run here.
So watching the 22, the 9, and the 53, this sounds familiar from last season. It took a while for Rob Rader to join the party, but he is riding the back end of Jeremy Burns. He's within half a second. And I think the 53 car maybe has a little bit of a second wind now that he's in the playoffs.
a renewed sense of focus potentially, now knowing that the championship opportunities are in sight once again, and really kind of going after here, trying to reel in Burns. That's no easy task, though. I mean, the guy won 9 times this season for a reason.
Back here, Michael Reed. That was a close one off of 2.
The 91 has been a fascinating driver to keep an eye on, because I feel like he really had some bad luck early this year, but once he was able to start running to the speed that this car has had and getting the finish to go with it, we have seen him in the top 10 each of basically every race of the past month or so, including that win at Richmond, but he was fast last week at Daytona, and he is fast again here tonight.
Watching here with the driver that was part of that caution, the 26 of Kyle Diaz. Still has a little bit of right front damage on this machine. You watch him come down the back straightaway. He's going to look to the inside of John Fike for 16th. But watch as he comes down the front stretch. This car definitely crinkled in on that right front. I lied. It looks like he got a lot of it fixed.
It does seem like he got a good bit of that repaired, as he is now opening the gap over John Fike. Fike, though, has company from Nick Alves and Daniel Holloway behind him. That's 65 under a good bit of pressure. We'll see if Alves tries to make the move here into 3. Not going to be able to that time by, but things starting to get stacked up a little bit, as now the 24 maybe peeking to the inside just a hair.
And I'm not going to lie, this car is growing on me, Alex. It's taken a while for it to sink in, but with the road course racing that we've seen, the short track racing that we've seen, you know, tracks that aren't as aero dependent, we've seen phenomenal shows, and it's been a contrast as Gilbert just tagged the wall hard out of 4.
That he did. That was a big-time bit of contact for the race leader, and that gap he built up just dropped several tenths down the front straightaway. And that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier, where just because you've got the lead, just because things are going well, you can't take your eye off the ball. This is a track where you have to race the track, not your competition, because it does not take much to get offline here, and then you really could do some damage to the race car. Jeremy Burns has closed in half a second that lap due to that bit of contact.
Getting interesting here on lap 84. Of course, everybody here for Chapman Cup Series action, you can hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race of the playoffs. We have it all the way to November here on V-Speed. The 5th season of Chapman Cup Series. Are we going to find a new champion? Does Jeremy Burns finally put it all together? He got it done in the Truck Series, but there's a lot of names that really know how to turn up the intensity when we eliminate it down to just 16 drivers.
Yeah, and now the opportunity for fluke things to happen could be far more detrimental than they are in that regular season. It's Dylan Picklesheimer got passed by Alex Forget. He's knocking on the door, trying to get back to that 7th spot. The 19, though, not having it. Looks like he's rebounding well from that slow pit stop at the stage break as Michael Reed and Matt Robinson duking it out for 9th. Got Justin Ritchie in the mix there. Yeah.
Ritchie slowly coming to it here. He's going to look to the inside of the 11. Down the back straightaway. On board with the 55. He's going to peek to the inside through 3 and 4. They're going to be door to door off of the corner. Ritchie can't get the run.
And no side drafts really there from the 55 either. He'll drop back in behind the 11. We're going to try to regroup, try it again. So he gets a better exit than the 11 did off of turn 2. Carried a good bit of speed down the Bowen backstretch, and here he goes into 3, thinking about it again, thinking about maybe trying the outside this time. A little over-under as he makes his way to the inside off of 4. That was a better run down the front straightaway. And who's going to blink first?
Ritchie could have dove down there into 1. The 11 hits the wall. That's what I said. They better be committed at this point.
A little bit. Oh, it gets really narrow there. The 55 had to flare out to the inside of the racetrack. Otherwise, they were all going to get stacked up. cost Richie a little bit as now Michael Call into the mix here.
Tough racing back here for around the 11th position. Robinson holds on to it, but he's still got a mirror full of 3 different cars. 89 loose. Into the wall.
More smoke getting kicked up here as everyone's trying to get around it. Kyle Stewart going to get 2 for 1 down the backstretch. Take one more look at it here, see what happened to the 89. Boy, the exit speed just was not there. And when he went down, Justin Ritchie thought he could poke his nose in between the 89 and the wall. Michael Call was trying to close that off, and all 3 of those beings, Call, Ritchie, and the outside safer barrier, all met each other off of turn 2 at the same time.
I think they're about to do it again.
They nearly did. 55, I think, might be having a better... I think he has a better exit out of turn 2 than a lot of the field does right now. And you saw he was battling with Robinson, getting a lot of speed off of 2 as well. It's just tough when you're in that inside spot because you really run out of exit room off the corner so quickly. So it becomes really difficult to make the pass down there. So I'm curious to see if Richie backs off for a few laps or goes right back on the hunt.
And now it's Kyle Stewart's turn to try to get around the 11 car for this top 10. The orange speed number 10 looks to the left down the front stretch. There's some side-by-side into turn 1. No, he backs out.
On board here with the 10 of Kyle Stewart trying to track down Matt Robinson. Here they go into turns 3 and 4. About a half groove higher for the 10 than the 11, who ironically enough are running in the 11th and 10th positions respectively. Kyle Stewart trying to break his way into the top 10 here if he can find a way around last week's winner, just not finding the luck to do so at the moment.
Oh, wow, what a block there for the 89. I don't know if that was intentional or not. All the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Watch this.
Yeah, big block off a big passing attempt. The 89 rather ferociously trying to hold on to that 12th place running position. Probably not going to get a free pass from Michael Call either after the contact Richie and Call made earlier. Then another big shot there to the back bumper.
If I'm Justin Ritchie right now, the 89 car's on borrowed time. I hate to say that, but that was, I mean, we're not pointing out anything, but this is halfway in the race. And
it's for a position outside the top 10.
Yeah, that can get you crashed. You're going to have to be careful with that, Michael Call.
That was a big block, and let's see, the 55 got a little bit of a run there. Now diving to the inside. This was actually the 11 of Matt Robinson. He's coming to pit road, and lo and behold, it's about that time again, Bradley. They came down and got fuel around lap 60, so that fuel window is open, and cars are ready to get some service done.
So Robinson and Picklesheimer, Grant Thorpe also down pit road in the 77 machine. I believe that's a Tennessee themed. Yes, it is. It's going to be a flood of cars. Here comes the leader.
Travis Gilbert down to make his
out.
stop. Oh, more contact on the front straightaway. Kevin Orlando Jr. sideways after tangling with Kyle Diaz. He is stopped in the racing line. That's going to bring out a yellow right at the start of this pit cycle. And Travis Gilbert was in the middle of his stop as the yellow is flown. Where is that going to cycle the stage winner?
I think it's going to trap him a lap down here.
That is going to be a huge turn of events here because it was just at the start of this pit window, so everybody was thinking about coming down pit road in just a moment. Most of those cars are going to be able to get a free stop here, basically. But for the couple cars who tried kicking off the pit cycle, they're in a real bad spot here as Kevin Orlando Jr. and Kyle Diaz get tangled up coming off of turn 4. Dooring each other a couple times, all out of sorts. 26 able to keep it pointed the right direction. Orlando Jr. had to lock it down on the front straightaway, though. And that will bring out the yellow.
And that shakes up everything because this is right around the time that everybody else was going to come to pit road anyway. So for the few that tried that undercut strategy of a couple laps, it's going to backfire. And this puts Jeremy Burns back to the top spot. But he's not out of the woods yet. He's going to have the 57, the 53, the 45, all knocking on his door on this next restart.
Yeah, that's where things get really tricky. Dakota Floyd down to the way. Quick stop for the 57. I think he only took 2 or fuel only. I think it was a 2-tire stop there for Dakota Floyd. And he gets out well and away with some track position that he's been trying to fight for all night long.
So Dakota Floyd will be the command car for this next restart. We're going to take another quick break here on V-Speed. You're watching the Chapman Cup Series. It's playoff time. Playoff race number 1 at Darlington. Back with more after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Welcome back here to our coverage at Darlington and the half-length Southern 500, 250 miles for the Chapman Cup Series and playoff race number 1. Travis Gilbert, who, well, we went back and watched the replay, and I don't know how you folks feel about it, but it kind of looked like the brakes failed on the 22 there just a moment ago.
Yeah, it was, I very much felt like a case of, well, you know, pit cycle trapped me in the wrong spot on the racetrack that I don't want to be in. Got to make up some lost time while everyone's in a group, and just got way too heavy-handed going into the corner. Tagged the back bumper of the 66, who also then collected the 5. So Carter Lynn's Jacob Sirkovich also caught up in that one, the 22, back on pit road. One of those nights where, you know, things have started off honestly truly great for Travis Gilbert. Won the stages, led a bunch of laps, and, you know, one small issue with just having a mistimed pit stop. Not that you could really prepare for that, but certainly something that would be frustrating as a driver. And then now getting compounded with this is going to really kind of put him behind the 8 ball here to try to repeat his win from the spring.
Yeah, he's going to be back around the 20th position for this restart, and we'll get the 1 to go signal this time by, but it's Dakota Floyd on the 2-tire call. Now, it gets him track position, but for Floyd, he might be on the flip side of this. They're going to have to pit one more time. At the least. I think it might be twice. I think they're going to have to pit 2 more times. So he's going to lose some of that ground when he has to take 4 tires. And if Rob Rader or Jimmy Burns decided to take 2 on the next stop, they can undo all of this. And plus, we're getting cautions here that are multiplying. It's not a good recipe if you're on that 2-tire call.
Well, I would like to say that we're slightly off here on the feed, because in the time while we were talking about that incident, a whole nother incident has happened on the racetrack.
Wow.
It was within half a lap of them trying to go green. I was gonna mention something when you were done with that thought, because it was important information for the folks at home. But yeah, we couldn't even really get going, and Michael Call and Trevor Keith, Michael Reed all caught up here coming out of turn 4, and it was like right after the flag was thrown. I think the field was still trying to catch up, and bam, heavy contact for those two. Yeah, everyone trying to cycle on around. And I think things are starting to fall apart a little bit here for the field. You know, the nerves starting to maybe pick up a little bit. You know, and these restarts are just going to get more and more crazy, and it's really tough to pass here tonight. So everyone's trying to make stuff happen on the restarts, and I think that's why we're seeing this string of yellows in a row.
Yeah, and this racetrack notorious for that, Alex. We've seen a lot of Darlington races, and the ones that go green and stay green, with the stage caution kind of grouping these guys back up, I think that's what's kind of, here, I'll use a term for you, exacerbated the situation and made it worse than what it already was.
It is vocab hour here on V-Speed here tonight. I'm glad that every so often one of us just has a word in the chamber that the other person just goes, huh, all right. That's a fantastic word. And I think to your point, it's spot on, because this really has been a case of just, the more this happens, the more likely it happens again. It's just going to be a compounding issue until everyone decides to try to settle in for a second, but that is far easier said than done.
The 57 is settling in. He's getting some laps led. I think he's led probably, 10 laps, and I would say 7 of them have been under caution. So he's loving what he's seeing right now, because this kind of pushes that strategy a little bit later and later for his 2-tire call. It helps him save and also puts him in a better situation for later in this race when we get that final green flag pit stop. Hopefully it's a green flag pit stop for his sake, because right now he would be in a kind of a rowing a boat the wrong way up the river.
Yeah, and that is, he's run well all night. He's been top 5 all night. He's got the lead now, but there is still a long way to go to bring this thing home with a good finish.
So it's Floyd, Rader, Burns, Harrison, and Berube for the top 5. You have Trevor Erhardt, Justin Ritchie, Michael Reed, Kyle Diaz, and Kyle Stewart for the top 10. Great recovery for the 26 to get back here to 9th. A lot of that damage has been repaired. Kevin Orlando, who went sideways a moment ago just before we hit those green flag pit stops around lap 89, he's going to restart in the 14th position, and it's the 22 of Travis Gilbert, who got stage 1. He's still stuck in 19th. Playing some strategy, came back down pit road, topped off with fuel, and the green flag is back out with a little bit of damage on your control car for this one.
Good launch for the 57. Gets to where he wants to be going in turn 1. Burns able to clear Raider for second. And here they come roaring through turns 1 and 2. Couple side by side. Few cars getting right up to that fence. And more cars dipping and dodging, trying to find a little bit of real estate here. These restarts always so chaotic at Darlington.
Of course, our camera packs provided by Dougie Beard, Bradley Cooper, and Alex Gagnon with you all season long. This has been a fantastic race, but it's not over yet. We still have 2 green flag pit stops that could come out, and depending on how these drivers feel about their strategy right now, you take 2 tires on the final stop. I think that's the call. Look how important track position has been all night long. I would not be surprised to see most of the top 10 do a 2-tire call.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. However, it's one of those situations where the cars who have taken 2 earlier may not be in a position to do so. Oh boy, Michael Reed, Justin Ritchie almost got tangled up there coming off the corner. They're now side by side in 3. But to your point, as we're watching this fantastic battling here from 10th on back, it's one of those situations where if you took 4 tires on the last stop, you can probably get away with taking 2 on the final stop. However, if you took 2 on the last one, you probably need to take all 4, which will be valuable seconds lost on pit road.
And Michael Reed just lost about 5 positions there. He got out of the groove on the backstretch a moment ago, then again down the front stretch, and it looked like a freight train going by into turn 1.
Yeah, now really losing out some track position here on a day that started pretty good for the 91, but really slipping the wrong way right now.
He got damage on that last incident as well.
Yeah, he did, and that car does not seem to be... Oh, boy, Matt Robinson hard into the wall, stacked up everybody behind him. Everyone trying to scatter 2-3 wide going into turn 3. And Robinson bouncing off the wall again. The 11 is just not able to get that car to rotate in the corner right now. And he's about to lose, about to lose out to about half the field, realistically here. They are all stacked up behind the 11 right now.
And it's tight here between the 91 and the 22. Travis Gilbert, your stage 1 winner. Hard to the wall.
More cars hammering the wall. That time it was Travis Gilbert who got a big shot there of turn 2's outside wall. And the stripes continue for the field here tonight. The lady in black not taking any prisoners right now with just over 60 laps to go.
Oh boy. That's another one.
The 22 has found the left rear corner panel of 3 different cars here tonight. Matt Robinson, the latest car, gonna get bump and run. And the 11 going to lose a ton of track position. He's down the 19th now.
Watch this again. And if you're a 22 fan, you might want to just have a chat with this guy. He is overdriving into these entries of these corners. And it's not very often we talk about this on V-Speed, but I mean, you got to give a guy some room here. I think the 11 actually a little low on the entry, but still, that's
that's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those situations where, you know, that's if you were running by yourself, that's the perfect entry for the 11. He probably thought that he was going to stay clear and not expect the 22 to launch it in. However, the 22, with a car that was far less damaged than Robinson's, had the ability to drive it in further. And that disagreement in real estate ultimately makes Matt Robinson the big loser in that exchange. He's lost a ton of track position. And speaking of track position, we might have ourselves a little battle for the lead here in a moment, as Rob Rader and Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison and company, they are reeling in Dakota Floyd at the front of the field.
Well, Burns was actually in second place just a moment ago, so something happened to Burns and Rader got around him. See if we can get a look at this. Take us back a little bit further. As we come out of turn 2 where you'll see this. I'm not sure if Burns got in the wall.
Been the theme for basically every driver in the field tonight. Has been getting some contact with the wall. It's just a matter of figuring out who can minimize that. And those will be the cars you'll see up at the front here in the closing laps.
Dakota Floyd's loving this transition. He held his lead over Jeremy Burns, and it was down to around 2 or 3 tenths when Burns hit the wall. Now it's Rader behind him, and that dirty air seems to be playing tricks on the front end of the Chapman and Metroplex Ford Mustang. I don't know if anybody can get around Floyd on just 4 tires alone. I think it's going to take an amazing entry to pit road. And if we stay green, that's how you're going to get around Dakota Floyd. You just got to execute on the pit stops. That's where your track position comes here.
That certainly is one option. The other option is you just see if the 57 can get bathed into a mistake. If you can keep the pressure on, try to get him out of his rhythm a little bit. And Rob Rader closing in less than a quarter second back. The gap about 2 car lengths there going into turn 3. Trying a bit of a different line than the 57. Apex did a good bit earlier.
It worked a little bit there off the exit. A little bit.
Yeah, it probably closed in about 5 or 6 hundredths of a second down the front straightaway, which doesn't sound like a lot, but Darlington's a battle of inches. So this accordion effect, it looks like Floyd's a little better in 1 and 2, but it looks like Rader was a little better through 3 and 4 last time. And now with 53, a completely different line this time. He's trying out, seeing what works. He's trying to see where he can get some clean air on the nose of that race car, improve the downforce, get the car to rotate. And you can see it was about 100th faster that last time. Or not much, but is slightly quicker than Floyd at the moment. You see he actually brushed the wall there a little bit through 1 and 2.
Seemed to be helping his line, actually, with that brush for the wall. And now he's going to get up on the rear bumper. He was within 2 tenths there. It's the first time we've seen that in a minute.
Yeah, and then he got hit with a wave of dirty air, a little bit of aero block from the 57. However, it may not stop Rader. He's closing in. Less than a car length going in the 1 that time. He'll back it up a little bit to get a hard drive off the corner. The 4-time champ knocking at the door as Dakota Floyd trying to hold on. There is a lot of victory lane experience in the 2 cars behind him. The 57 looking for win number 1 on the season. He's looking real strong at the moment, but not able to get away right now from Rob Rader and company.
Burns also rejoining this picture slowly. And Rader into the wall.
And that's going to open the door for the 9 to the inside going into turn number 3. Jeremy Burns going to drive it in deep. Side by side they go. This battle going to give Floyd a little bit of a reprieve as they make their way off the corner. Neither one able to settle it for second.
For how long do you want this to go on? There, the 9 backs out of it. But now he has the 45 of Harrison on the back porch.
I think Harrison actually forced Burns' hands there. I think Burns was going to try to stick in there a little bit longer, but he was in danger of losing out on third to the 45. So Burns now back to third. Harrison and Forget right there, knocking on the door, trying to get into that top 3 situation. Second through 5th, we've got ourselves a wild battle on our hands right now here going on to lap 130 next time by.
And these are teammates here. Chapman Cup Series title sponsor on the side of that Ford Mustang in the 53. Had 1 win this season. And it came at a great time. But it wasn't, for lack of trying. The guy has been out here. He's just had terrible luck everywhere he's went. So hopefully he's put all that behind him and this race can go on. But he goes side by side with Burns. They lost about 5/10 that lap. And I know he made a mistake there, got into the wall. Burns not able to complete the pass. That made it even worse. So, is there another stab here for Burns? I don't know if you take it. If you're trying to work together, is the 53 holding you up or do you hold each other up trying to pass?
I mean, it just depends on how quickly you can get the pass. And I think it's a matter of passing is difficult right now. But the 9 has had a couple opportunities, and I think Burns believes he is faster than Rader. If he could get clear of the 53, he might have a better chance at reeling in the race leader. But making that pass is critical as he launches it into turns 3 and 4. He'll take away that spot. Nicely done from the 9. They'll move up to second. Rader drops back to third. Harrison now knocking on the door of the 53.
That lead extended out to almost a full second there, Alex, while that was happening. Now you got to wonder, is Burns going to drive to get back up there to Floyd? Are we approaching that green flag pit stop we were talking about a moment ago? I think we're within that 5-lap range.
Yeah, at any time in the next couple laps, we'll start seeing cars peel off the pit road. They came down last time a little after lap 100. And I think Jeremy Burns is going full tilt right now, trying to reel in Dakota Floyd and maybe having a little bit of success doing so is Matt Robinson going to take that wounded race car to pit road. He'll kick off this pit cycle. And I think that's a wise call for the 11. Used it to try to repair a little bit of that damage and put some fresh tires on before anybody else.
And for Floyd right now, the situation is he cannot make a second 2-tire pit stop in a row. I don't think these right sides will hold up, and it doesn't spell well for the very end of this run. Yeah, he's going to gain some time initially, but he'll give it all back over the course of 35 laps. I think he comes down, gets 4 tires, going to bite the bullet and pray a caution doesn't come out so you don't get trapped outside this top 5.
Yeah, and that's the important thing for the 57 is this lead continues to shrink. Now only 0.6 of a second back to Jeremy Burns. It was a second 2 laps ago. The 9-time winner this season on the hunt, and he is reeling in race leader Dakota Floyd right now. On board with the Metroplex number 9, seeing what he can do. As we take a look at the driver cam. Just absolute calm right now on the face of the second place runner.
A 10th here or there, it speaks volumes. We're starting to watch Floyd struggle for the first time on this run, but thankfully for him, it's about time to come to pit road, so he's got it. As long as he can maintain, I think he's going to end up somewhere around P5, P6. It just depends on how many of these other drivers want to take that gamble on 2 tires for track position.
I also think it's really important to note. Oh, here we go. Jeremy Burns down on pit road. I was just about to say, of the cars running in the top 6, 5 of them finished in the top 6 in the spring race. So we're seeing really who can get around this racetrack with good effect. But Jeremy Burns kicking off this part of the pit cycle with the leaders. Rob Rader down as well. Justin Ritchie, Dylan Picklesheimer. And now I got to imagine if you're Dakota Floyd, you got to make your stop next time around the racetrack. And here he comes. Gets it anchored down. Nice entry there. And now we'll really just have to wonder who got on and off pit road better. It'll only be 1 lap difference between the 9 and the 57 on tires on this next stint.
And for the 9 car of Jeremy Burns, it was a 4-tire stop. "48 seconds down the pit lane, 14.5 in the box." Dakota Floyd just now finishing up his service. You can see down there, we were talking about 14.5 in the box. Is Floyd going to get down and away and faster than that? 3/10 slower.
He had the advantage coming in. Burns will have 1 lap on those fresher tires, though. And you see Burns going to wheel on by. So the 9 with a big advantage here. He got on and off a little bit faster. Those 1 lap fresher tires proving critical for track position. And now it's Dakota Floyd's turn to go on the hunt.
We cycled out pit stops really that quickly. 91 to Michael Reed, wrapping up the end with the front end of that machine a little bit damaged, down and away. He'll wrap it up here for a green flag pit stops. Travis Gilbert back to the lead. He's a driver that came down pit road and topped off with fuel.
Oh, the yellow's
and the
out.
caution's out. It flips again. Erhardt around.
At first, an early yellow during a pit cycle put the 22 in a bad spot. This time it falls in a perfect position for Travis Gilbert to capitalize on it.
41 car loses it coming off of pit road.
Trevor Erhardt just eager to try to get back on the racetrack, trying to get back up the speed. And the moment you catch some of that banking on the back straightaway, it's a little bit loose. And that right there is what brought out the yellow. That last little bit onto the racing line as defined by iRacing as cars were coming. Enough to bring out the yellow. And that is going to be really interesting here because I'm looking at the lap counter. When they come down pit road, it's about 40 laps to go. It's going to be a tall order, but there's a universe that exists where you could potentially make it from here.
Well, here's the other part.
You need some caution laps, and you need to do some extreme save, but it is feasible.
The other part I want to talk about is look at Daniel Holloway and Trevor Keith. They were on the same kind of strategy of topping off with fuel, and they are now down pit road. They're going to give the laps back to the rest of the field from 4th place on back. They will be at the top of this podium for this restart.
Yeah, really flipped the right way for the 21 and the 15. And I do wonder if we see any cars maybe toward the back of the field of cars who are already done their pit cycle. You know, maybe on the 1 to go, come down pit road, try to do a little top off on fuel because they're already toward the back of the field. I don't know. It's certainly a possibility because, I mean, they are right on the margin of being able to make it. Bit of a long stop there for the 15.
9 car down pit road.
I think he's thinking what I've been wondering here in the booth, which is, you know, if you top off here, you might be able to stretch to the end. We know Jeremy Burns is so good in these fuel-saving moments. We've seen him do it several times over the past couple of years. Not a ton this season, but especially last season, I recall. There was multiple times where he was really making that fuel strategy game work his way. So he'll top off the 15, getting some damage repaired. Going to shape up to be a very fascinating run to the checkered here. We're just over 40 laps left.
Benefited from the free pass position. He was able to come down pit road and top off. So now it's Dakota Floyd that could potentially come down and top off with fuel. Does he want to take that gamble? Nope.
Doesn't seem like it.
I think he's in a situation where pit road really wasn't open enough for him to do that.
Yeah, especially with the amount of cars that he could lose track position to behind him here. I think that fell a really good way for the 9 there. And to your point, now it's going to be Daniel Holloway on the front row with Travis Gilbert. Grant Thorpe going to be in the mix here as well, and Trevor Keith before you get back to those cars who were ahead at the pit cycle, but the pace car peeling off here once again.
And it looks like most of this field just getting caught up as we get set to go back green. Here we go from Darlington. Look at the single file on the inside. That's all the cars that had to get back on the lead lap, and now it's Daniel Holloway, Trevor Keith, Jeremy Burns back in 9th, or 4th rather, are kind of in the middle, and that's the 66. Not sure how Carter Lenz ended up. Yeah, I'm not sure how the 66 ended up here.
I don't entirely know either, but he's certainly in the mix and the highest running of the lap down cars. So in the free pass position for now. But right now, a lot of cars who are on the lead lap are going to have to try to find their way around the 66 here as they battle for these top 10 spots. Oh boy!
Rob Rader in the inside wall.
Lenz got jacked up coming off of turn 2. Rob Rader collected in it as well. And the 53's night suddenly just got a lot more difficult. Take a look here at the replay. We'll keep an eye on the 53 and the 66. Rader does a great job to get around Matt Robinson here through 1 and 2. And then look, the 66 just whacks the wall here off of 2. Gets collected in there with the 53 hard into that inside safer barrier. Only car really collected in it. But heavy damage to the front end of the 53.
We were on board with Rob Rader as this is happening. Rader thought he was going to get the momentum in the run there. Off of turn 2. And unfortunately, 66 bounces the wall.
And now everyone down pit road again, because this time with the stop you can make it on fuel. So the question mark on the fuel window has completely gone out the window. Everyone here going to top off, and now you should be able to make it even if you're pushing.
Only one car really cut it on fuel. Daniel Holloway came back in.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that's someone who's trying to capitalize on a bit of good fortune with the way the cautions have fallen tonight. 21 hasn't had the best pace up in the front half of the field in the early going, but now is in a prime position to try to capitalize with that track position. We've seen it's been a lot easier to defend track position than it is trying to take it out on the racetrack tonight. So the 21 in a good spot, I'd say, here on lap 148.
Reminding you of the points, your final 16 here at Darlington Raceway with Jeremy Burns and his 9 victories. Travis Gilbert, 3 wins on the season. Then it's our multi-time winners from there with Alex Forget, Carter Lenz, Kyle Diaz. It's Justin Ritchie back. And Matthew Robinson, 11 different winners this season. Are we going to find another new winner? Does Dakota Floyd find his way to victory lane? Travis Gilbert add his 4th win to the column in the first race of the playoffs? Or does Jeremy Burns, the fan favorite, add 10 and go to double digits? Lot left to be raced.
When they get this restart going, I think very notably now Jeremy Burns is up to that 2nd row on the restart, but he is diagonal from the 22. Kyle Diaz, Trevor Keith still separate the 9 and the 22 at the front of the field, as you see the rest of the field trying to get caught up to the lead pack here. As the lights are off on the pace car, they're going this time by.
Here we go with your stage 1 winner. About 35 laps to go here. This puts us right on the mark for fuel. Green flag. Diaz up there as well. This is another multi-time winner. Finding his way to the top 3. Trevor Keith, who needed a win this season. Thought he needed it to get into the playoffs. He's running in 3rd.
Yeah, a little side-by-side action between the 15 and the 26 right now for that 2nd spot. As they try to settle this thing out, Diaz going to hold on to it for now. Travis Gilbert with a great jump on that lap, up to a 5/10 advantage over Diaz on board right now with Trevor Keith. This is the man running 3rd right now, about a 2nd off of the race lead. Someone looking for every point he can get his hands on.
On the backstretch, 35's around.
Picklesheimer sideways. Oh, and I think there's definitely more cars involved. Several cars parked on the back straightaway, all with some pretty significant damage. There's sheet metal tumbling down the back straightaway. If we take a look here, they go 3 wide in the 1 and 2. Well, that isn't going to work. They settle it down to 2 wide, and bam, heavy contact with Erhardt and with Picklesheimer. And then Alves and Picklesheimer tangle as Rob Rader hits the wall as well. Michael Reed, my goodness. A devastating bit of contact. Michael Call gets caught up late in it as well. There's a lot of cars with heavy damage there, Bradley, but Michael Reed got the worst of it.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here and say that the throttle's stuck on the 41. You be the judge here.
All right, let's take a look here. As Trevor Erhardt goes into turn 1.
He wasn't happy with the 35. Now watch this.
Whoa. What's wild about that is the 35 was already wrecked at that point. It was already down on the round. Well, 41, yeah, was coming off of turn 2 with a full head of steam.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious. Gonna have to hide that one a little bit better there, Trevor.
I mean,
I know he's not happy.
And I wouldn't blame him. I mean, that was a daring would be a understatement of a move there from the 35, but yeah, that's Skycam doesn't do him any favors there either. No. Tell you what, we should if anyone wants to get some whiplash, we could ride on board with the 91 because he had a really hard hit.
See if we can get it backed up enough here.
Yeah, so this all happens in front of him. Not how the playoffs were supposed to start here for the 91, I'm sure, at least in his mind. Tough break there for Michael Reed. He gets caught up in the residual of this wreck, getting tangled with Michael Call and Rob Rader.
You can see it happening too. He tried to go low to avoid it. Ends up going 3 wide with the checkup.
That's how quickly things can fall apart. You know, you see the wreck in front of you, you try getting down and away from it. Similar to what he did when Rob Rader spun earlier. He was the only car who was able to get low on the 53 versus everyone else who went up toward the wall. Unfortunately, that strategy did not work 2 times in a row. So, pace car peeling off here, ready to rock and roll once again. It'll be 30 laps to go, this time by Travis Gilbert, Kyle Diaz up front, and a host of beat-up race cars behind him.
So this is another one of those scenarios where Kyle Diaz and the 22 of Travis Gilbert could control the field, but here comes a 9 of Jeremy Burns on the outside of Trevor Keith down the backstretch. Clears him.
Combined 14 wins amongst the drivers in the podium spots right now this season. A lot of experience in this group. Gilbert trying to hold off his teammate and Kyle Diaz. Jeremy Burns trying to force the issue and make this a 3-horse race up the front.
And our first Tier 1 Super from Tia Silva. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. So we watch the last 20 laps unravel here. And unravel is what I mean. It has been bad. I mean, the caution count has just multiplied compared to what we were in the first stage.
Yeah, everyone getting a little more desperate, a little more eager to try to make some moves, and it's just caused some issues up at the front, or not really at the front of the field, but kind of all throughout the field. So right now, your top 5 as they run: Gilbert, Diaz, Burns, Trevor Keith, Tyler Harrison. That battle for 4th ongoing, as well as Harrison trying to find his way around the 15. It's been a quiet night for Tyler Harrison. He's running about 4th or 5th basically every time we've jumped on board with him. He just has not been able to find that extra little bit to get up into the mix with those podium cars.
Maybe he was trying to find the line. Track is changing. Weather on the top of your screen, it's come down a few degrees from the beginning. If you favor a cooler track, maybe Tyler Harrison could find his way around. Back on board with him. He's getting a run.
And this is
Burns.
Yeah, both of them with a good run here. Maybe Harrison going to make the move here to the inside of Trevor Keith into turn 1. Thinking about trying to stick it in there. He's going to be able to hang on the door and clear the 15. So Tyler Harrison going to take that spot. You know, he may not have a win yet this season, Bradley, but he is 2nd in the series in top 10s. He had 16 through the opening 24 races. Part of the reason how he accumulated so many points is that level of consistency, and we're seeing that again here tonight as he currently runs in the 4th position.
Under the lights, it's almost like a short track, the way these drivers have been fighting. And we've got 5-6 cars off of the racetrack. Dylan Bickelsheimer behind the wall getting damage repair. Trevor Erhardt done for the day. Michael Reed, Jacob Sirkovich, Justice Murphy. Michael Bennett's been on pit road for 141 laps. And Joe Joya electing not to grid here tonight. Travis Gilbert loving what he sees in his mirror right now. He's got a teammate behind him. Jeremy Burns is going to have a tough time with this dirty air to even try to complete this pass.
Yeah, on board right now with the driver of the 9. Trying to find his way up to Kyle Diaz, having a tough time doing so at the moment. In position for what would be his 16th top 5 of the season. That's just how good of a year it's been for the 9. But a little further back, some chaos happening here. Kevin Orlando Jr. trying to hold off Forget and Kyle Stewart. This is just outside the top 10.
Stewart took a
now
stab.
Up. Yeah.
Forget is on the move, though. Alex, he is picking them off one at a time.
That he is. We've seen him have to work through the field a couple times here tonight as he'll slide past Orlando, maybe in a duel for 11th right now. Looks like he'll be able to claim that spot this time. So just outside the top 10 for the 19. And he is on the move in the closing stages of this race.
Looking at the last lap times, Gilbert with his clean air, a 10th faster. Again, this goes back to, can they make it on fuel? Travis Gilbert, Kyle Diaz. I don't think they can. I think they're going to be a lap or two short.
I disagree, I think. I think because they were able to pit slightly later, they should be good with the extra pacing laps we have. That being said, that is by no means a comforting feeling, because should we end up in a situation where we need a green-white checkered tonight, Bradley, all of a sudden I think both of those cars are going to have a lot of alarm bells going off.
And we have 2 attempts at that here tonight as you watch the 22 continue to stretch out that lead. Jeremy Burns less than a tenth on the back bumper of Diaz coming out of 4.
Yeah, had a great run that last time around. 0.2 quicker than the 26. Diaz going to clip the wall there in 1 and 2. That might open the door here for the 9-time winner this season. Burns less than a car length away. Does he try to dive it in here in 3? Not quite, but getting some clean air on the nose of that car, helping with the car being able to rotate. And here they go back down this front straightaway. The duel for second is on between Kyle Diaz and Jeremy Burns.
You got to wonder how long does this go on? Does this allow Tyler Harrison to maybe come up here and take a podium spot? He's catching up. Last time by, he was a tenth faster.
Right now, stuck about a car length back of Diaz as Jeremy Burns got a good run off of 4, though. This is the moment for the 9. Got right to the corner, elected against it. I thought that would have been the moment he would have tried to send it in there, but he thought against it. Diaz is slowly leaving a Vet the Track logo tattooed on the turn 2 wall. I think he's been able to graze it each of the past 3 laps here.
Harrison down to half a second back from Burns, and Gilbert continuing to stretch out this lead. Dirty Air becoming a factor. Here's Justin Ritchie and Alex Forget. 55 trying to find his way around the 19. See if he's continuing those good exits off of 2.
Now on board here with the 55. Trying to reel in. Oh boy, speaking of reeling in, he had to reel that car in off of turn 2. That guy nearly took a nosedive off the corner into the inside retaining wall. He was able to hold on to it. Didn't lose any track position, but lost some time to Forget, who's now up to 8th. That 19 is churning right now. He is making up a lot of track position in a short period of time. Speaking of making up some track position, Bradley, Tyler Harrison, now that gap only 0.4 to Jeremy Burns.
They have a 3-way battle for second. Just over 50 to go.
And this trio here, you know, much like most of the cars in the top 10 right now, all playoff drivers fighting for those points, try to make it to the next round. Should Travis Gilbert win tonight, he would punch his ticket to the round of 12. Looking in good shape to do so right now, but for everyone not in the 22 machine, every point you can get your hands on critical here tonight, especially when you have the opportunity to pass another playoff driver.
So it's accordion back together for 2nd through 4th spot. Looking back here with John Fike. This driver has been quiet all night long. He's had his moments of getting spun or being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but the 65 currently running in 6th. He has gained 8 positions to be up here. Biggest mover of the race, though, goes to Kyle Diaz. 22 spots gained for the 26 car.
And one more thing about John Fike, just for a moment. The 65 looking for his 2nd top 10 of the season, despite how many times we've been able to see him run up front at times this year. Just has had some misfortune at the end of some of these races, so right now the 65 just trying to close this one out and get a strong result and kind of buck the trend of the earlier part of this season.
Mistake made here by Diaz that gave another opportunity to Burns. He still hasn't taken it.
Yeah, the 9 has seemed really, I don't want to necessarily say content with running in 3rd, but there's been a couple times now where I feel like the door's been open to really take a stab at taking that position, and he's just elected against it. And that has let Tyler Harrison, I mean, he is fully in this battle at this point. And The 9, just staying behind the 26. They've not necessarily made up time to Travis Gilbert, but they haven't lost any more time in about 10 laps here.
1.2 seconds back from your leader, Travis Gilbert. I can guarantee you that Diaz is playing as much defense as he can. That's a teammate up there.
That's a teammate up there, and he's also trying to get every playoff point he can get his hands on. And right now he's in danger of losing 2 critical spots to 2 playoff rivals, so all the more incentive for the 26 to try to anchor down in second with 10 laps to go now.
Dakota Floyd catching up to John Fike. This is for 6th spot.
And don't look now, but Dakota Floyd needs to make this pass soon. Otherwise, he's about to have company in form of the 19. The 57 is about to get some visits from Alex Forget as he tries to take a look around. John Fike here might have a run going into turn 1.
It's getting close. Big run off the 2.
Yeah, this might be the move here going into 3. Got a great exit off of turn 2, and now here comes Alex Forget. 3-way battle for 6th. The 65, 57, and 19 all off of turn 4. And they're also reeling in Trevor Keith here. It's about to be a 4-car battle for 5th as we've got ourselves a change for position up at 2nd. Burns and Harrison slide by Kyle Diaz in 1 and 2.
It's all happening simultaneously, and it looked like Floyd ended up losing a couple spots out of that. He was about to get around Fike. He had cleared, or got close to clearing, but Fike putting up a fight for 6th.
Yeah, and Forget able to capitalize around the 57. He's trying to do the same around the 65. Fike, though, proven not to be an easy pass here tonight. As Forget tries to continue that warpath to the front. He was top 5 here in the spring. He's trying to get back up to that spot in the dying laps of this race. Trying to scratch and claw his way past the 65, but no dice yet.
Wood's going to give him a little help down the front stretch. Just over 5 to go. What a send here. Fike's getting sideways. Floyd's going to sneak through.
The 65 was able to save it, but that's going to cost him and the 19 some time. And they're still getting into it.
They're still going at it down the backstretch. Fike get back in front of the 19.
I have no idea. Take one more look at this here, folks. This was a huge moment a second ago. This nearly brought out the yellow. I'm actually kind of surprised it didn't. The 65 gets down on the apron. The 19 slow.
Save.
Unbelievable save. And then, yeah, as he gets back onto the banking, gets a little loose, gets tagged by the 19, and somehow was able to keep it in front of Forget. What a duel those two are having.
Diaz down pit road. He can't make it.
With 4 laps to go.
Question mark now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You didn't think they could make it. I thought they could. All of a sudden now I am very unsure. So we are on board with Travis Gilbert. Race leader has a 1.3 second advantage. Coming to 3 to go this time by.
He's heavily saving. He's losing a couple tenths a lap with how much he has to save. Burns is on the move. I don't think he can make it.
He is certainly in full conservation mode now. Making it to the end on fuel is going to be one thing, but trying to keep the 9 behind him is going to be another thing entirely. 2 to go now.
That 2-second lead has dwindled down to 9 tenths. Does the 22 of Travis Gilbert have enough fuel to make it to the end of this race? The lead down to half a second now.
Here we go through 3 and 4. The gap only 0.6 of a second. Burns is on the prowl. White flag in the air, presented by Erhardt Homes. Love where you live. And this is a tense moment through 1 and 2 for the final time here tonight.
He's got enough throttle here down the backstretch. 7/10, he pulls it back out. It looks like he's saved enough. He's going to pull away from Jeremy Burns. As Burns had reeled him back in, Travis Gilbert is going to add another victory to the win column. 22 across the line, out of fuel.
Well, that man did the math perfectly here tonight. And he'll go on to lead 106 of 184 laps. Win number 4 on the season for Travis Gilbert, and he'll punch his ticket to the round of 12. And the 9 going to give him a nice little push on the cool down lap here.
Man, he ran out of fuel crossing the start-finish line. I thought he was going to run out way before that, so he did a fantastic job saving enough. I doubt he has enough to even burn out here.
Yeah, I'd be floored. They're going to go take the picture, and then he might just have to get out of the car. So there is your podium.
The top 3.
Let's see. Is there any burnout from the 22? Yeah, I don't think so. I think he is beached at the start-finish line.
Well, congratulations to Travis Gilbert on getting playoff win number 1. He locks himself into the round of 12. Don't go anywhere. Post-race coverage in just a moment. We're actually going to try to gather up Travis Gilbert. Actually down in the waiting room, and see if we can get Travis Gilbert up here right away. Well, Travis, you saved just enough fuel to bring it home. Wow, was it close. This race flipped and flopped for you several times here tonight. You got trapped a lap down during a green flag pit stop. You come in and top off with fuel during those cycles. You get it back on the same scenario, and you come out with just enough to win this race. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bradley. Oh, I appreciate it. We just swept Darlington. I want to wish my ex-wife Amber a happy birthday. Tomorrow is her birthday, and last year we were winning on her birthday, and I had a fuel situation due to a race lab update that happened in the middle of the race. So I was actually short 2 laps, and Berube won that race. So I can't thank my Racing for Freedom 0 Point team enough. Ray Lane, Tay McDonald, Brandon Richardson, John Fight, Kyle Diaz, Devin Hudgens, Terry Hudgens, like my mom, my sister, like everybody who knows how hard it is to win these races. And most of my friends and fans know usually when I'm dominating a race, there's something that usually happens that I have to overcome. So this is a sign of championship caliber teams right here, being able to face adversity and being able to come back and get the job done. Like I can't thank this team enough. Like they just put in the work, and I've been burned out a little bit, so they've been putting the work in a little bit. I wanted to come back refreshed for this playoffs, and man, oh my gosh, is this about to track Ford Mustang so fast.
Well, you had that clean air, and it looked advantageous. And once these guys get out, you took 2 tires. And the strategy there, we've seen you do it time and time again this season, but it ends up working out better that you did 4 tires on your last stop, and you got the full tank of fuel to every last drop.
Yeah, Monday I learned that you could run these left side tires. Like you can put some laps on them, but man, the way that Darlington races, see the track was high, so you skate the turn 2 and turn 4 exit if you rush the throttle too soon. So I made some setup changes. The team went to work before the official practice. We put up a 2-hour practice, and we went to work, and I just had a feeling, a gut instinct that this track was going to be totally different than I practiced. So I went back to my race winning setup from the spring, and man, this thing was on rails. She's a fast vet to track Ford Mustang.
Well, Travis, congratulations on adding another win to the column. You do it here for the first time in the playoffs. Anybody you want to shout out again while we have you in the broadcast booth?
Oh man, I got to thank Waylon Turner from Darkhaze Digital. Like, this paint scheme has been so fast. It's got me 4 wins this year. And we probably could be up there with Jeremy. Jeremy's so good and consistent. He's really good on road courses. Something I need to work on. Vet to track, Jim Whittam. Everything we've done, we've gotten out on some ARCA cars this year and trying to expand our exposure to getting vets to the racetrack in one way, shape, or form, whether it's helping with camaraderie out at Moto America, or if it's going to the Michigan vet to track days, where they help vets. You know, it takes $500 to get a vet on a motorcycle, and we do it because it's the PTSD, right? That's what's on the car, battling PTSD one lap at a time. And let me tell you something. Don't matter what you guys think about me racing. One thing this 22 car will never do is fold under pressure. It's not going to give up. As you can see, we went down pit road the leader. We came out a lap down and had to fight back. Same thing as Monday. This team's a winning team. I think it's a championship caliber team. We got a lot of good race car drivers in this camp, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the playoffs. So got to thank everybody. Much love, everybody that supports me. Terry Hudgens, we got the job done tonight. 9 more races to go. Appreciate V Speed, RR, Enginuity, Chapman Environmental Services, Erhardt Homes, love where you live. We appreciate everybody, man. We'll look forward to next week.
Travis Gilbert, he led 106 laps. He gets the stage 1 and the victory. Started up on the front row. Congratulations. We'll see you at Gateway in 7 days.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We've got more post-race coverage in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We've got Jeremy Burns and Tyler Harrison to talk to, and your final race results in just a moment's time. You are watching the Chapman Cup Series live on V-Speed. Back with more of the playoffs right after this.
JS Racing. We're in the game.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Welcome back to our post-race coverage of playoff race number 1 from Darlington Raceway. It was Travis Gilbert who got stage 1 and the victory. Jeremy Burns, Tyler Harrison end up the top 3. There's a little caution plague to finish this thing out. As you can see, 8 cautions, and I'd say 6 of those happened at stage 2. Alex, it was, man, temper starting to flare up. It looked like a short track out here tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot of scores that were not necessarily settled tonight, but I think will now be cause for things to get settled over the next couple of weeks. A lot of cars got tangled up with each other tonight, and I think there's a lot of folks who are going to be remembering that over the conclusion of this season, because there's not a whole lot of time left this year. Only 9 more races after tonight, so memories run long with drivers, and this is not something they'll easily forget tonight, and not something we'll easily forget because we got treated to one heck of a show.
Jenna Floyd getting 4th there, ran up in the top spot for a little while tonight. Still winless this season, but a solid finish, top 5. Trevor Keith, this is what he needed, is he was right on the edge of that cutoff mark. Justin Ritchie also in that boat, but he had a win coming into this. He'll start or finish in 6th spot. Alex Forget-Berube, 7th. John Fike, man, the 19 and the 65, they went back and forth several times, but Fike gonna get in the top 10, so he's gonna add to that list. Nick Alves finishing in 9th. Kyle Stewart in the 10 car for your top 10.
Looking back at 11th, Daniel Holloway will go up from 22nd to 11th here tonight. Kevin Orlando Jr. will finish 12th. Rob Rader will finish 13th as the last car on the lead lap. Grant Thorpe finishing 14th. Kyle Diaz was running in the top 3 until the closing stage of that. Had to come down for a last little bit of fuel. He'll finish 15th. Matt Robinson, 16th. Carter Lins, 17th. Michael Call, 18th. Dylan Picklesheimer and Michael Reed rounding out your top 20, both over 30 laps down.
And 5 more cars to talk about with Trevor Erhardt out and done for the day. Jacob Sirkovich off the racetrack as well with Justice Murphy, Michael Bennett, and of course Joe Joya electing not to grid here tonight. Well, we have more post-race interviews to bring up into the broadcast booth, and the next driver we're going to bring up is the driver of the number 9, the fan favorite, Jeremy Burns. Alex Gagnon has caught up with him.
Hey there, Jeremy. This is Alex and Bradley up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what, put it on pole, led a bunch of laps here tonight, and we'll go home with the podium finish. Maybe not the win, but coming in with such a healthy points advantage to this opening round of the playoffs. Got to imagine you feel pretty good with the points buffer you're going to take coming out of Darlington.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is always collect as many stage points and then just get the finish that you think that you can get without wrecking the car. You saw a lot of playoff drivers tonight having issues. I know Rob, being a teammate, he had issues. I know Carter had issues. Trevor had some issues. But overall, just couldn't be more happy with the performance. I knew that Travis was going to be really quick, and he's going to make it to the next round, which there's no surprise there. He's been bad quick all year, but overall the car felt really good. Felt really good in the long run. Just wrapping that bottom made the tires last just a little bit longer, but just really happy for everybody on the team and everybody on the Alliance as well to get a good finish tonight and taking it to Gateway and then Bristol, 2 tracks where really anything can happen, and Gateway is not one of my strong suits, but overall, I just want to have enough points gap going into Bristol to where I don't have to worry about it. But hopefully with the performance we put up tonight, I can kind of give up some points at Gateway and still be fine for Bristol.
Yeah, and with that being said, I mean, obviously you're walking out with a ton of points here today, but came up one spot short of the win. You were kind of battling in that top 3, top 4 basically all night. But obviously Darlington, a place that's pretty tough to pass at. What was it like trying to work your way through the field here late tonight?
I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was really tough to pass Kyle there, but like you said, it's really difficult to pass here. And a lot of it was strategy based, and Travis was able to save enough fuel there under the cautions. And I told him I needed one less there to really put him in a worse situation saving wise. But overall, his track position all night, and I thought that Travis had gone away because we got lucky on a caution, but literally the next run, just it kind of flipped there. And luckily, I was the lucky dog, so I could stay on the same-ish cycle as everybody else. But just, taking it as it comes, and I felt like Darlington being one of the longer races of the season, it's just one of those where you have to take the punches. Not everything's going to go your way, but at the end of the day, you can't make mistakes that you can correct, such as speeding on pit road, having a bad restart, and just not executing the way that you can. So overall, I felt like we did a really good job of executing, and just coming home P2 is a great night and got some good stage points as well.
That you did. And Jeremy, overall, a great start to the postseason for you. Anyone you'd like to shout out here on the podium performance?
Yeah, just huge shout out my mom and dad, Josie, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, Betty, Colleen, Tommy, Chrissy, Dana, and Dylan. Everybody here in the townhouse putting up with me racing late at night. So that's really cool. And all of DSP, the business fraternity here. So huge shout out to them. Element X Racing, Metroplex for being on the hood, Enginuity Power Systems, Chapman Environmental, Buttkicker, Coastal Financial, all the other sponsors as well, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, All About Bugs, you all up here at V-Speed. Super excited to go back and watch the action of tonight. I know it was a long one, so appreciate y'all. And all the admins and drivers for still showing up tonight. Even if you're not in the playoff, it's always a blast to come out in this league. So all that, and huge shout out to Terry Hudgens coming home P2 for him.
And that was, a great start to the season for you, Jeremy. Congrats, and we will see you next week at Gateway.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
That was race runner-up Jeremy Burns tonight. Got a bunch of stage points, and will cushion out that bubble to the next round pretty heavily. Moving on to Gateway in next week.
Everybody's shouting out Terry Hudgens. He's got to feel popular here in this chat. He has been knocking on the Jeremy Burns fans all season, and he's getting thanked from the race winner. He's getting thanked for the guy that he knocks on every week. So
I'm noticing a trend here. We mentioned that Jeremy Burns probably the most popular driver here amongst the fans in the Chapman Cup Series. I think Terry Hudgens might be the most popular fan amongst the drivers here in the Chapman Cup Series.
Yeah, just continuing to thank him. Let's see if Tyler Harrison does it. He's in third place here tonight in the pink Mr. Detail 45. Hey, man, it looks like you came to play today.
Yeah, finally got a podium and at the right time too this season. I remember being really good here in the spring race, and I was just really looking forward to tonight. And car felt great, handled pretty decent in traffic, and finally got some solid runs and some solid momentum here in the playoffs. So hopefully we can come to play the rest of the way here.
We ran in that top 5 99% of the day. Outside of that strategy flip that happened during those green flag pit stops, and you kind of got caught off guard there. I think a lot of guys did.
Yeah, there were definitely a few pretty chaotic yellows that popped up at the wrong time for some guys. And some of them affected them early, as we saw with Travis, and then some of them affected others late in positive and negative ways, right? So just had to make the most of our green flag runs and just try to get the track position, or at least maintain what we had throughout the greens, and then tried to get some office strategy on the yellows. I only took 2 tires, I think, one time tonight just to get a little bit, and that might have been the difference maker. So yeah, definitely a lot of chaos, but that's ultimately going to be expected with the last 10 races of the season. Everybody's trying to go out, whether or not it's to advance in the playoffs or at least just get a win for the season. It's going to be pretty chaotic the rest of the way here. So we saw a little bit of that tonight. Wouldn't shock me if we continue to see some stuff like that the rest of the way here.
Well, what doesn't shock me is that you give this guy an opportunity in the playoffs and he turns it up to 11. You are now going to go in from 13th coming into tonight to jump towards the top 10. How does that feel, knowing that you could just naturally point your way in if you have 2 more good weeks?
Oh, that's a relief. I hate being on the cut line. I don't want to be anywhere near that. I'm really looking forward to the last 2 races of this round too, because I really like driving Bristol. WWT will probably be a little bit of an interesting race because I've yet to really drive that track. So that's definitely something I'm going to brush up on. But this round's going to be really good for me. So hopefully we can get a stage win here, maybe build a little bit more points towards the next round and go ahead and advance and just keep on building this momentum here with this Mr. Detail Ceramic Pro Cleveland Camry here.
Well, somebody's flirting with you in the chat. I don't know if you see that or not, but this might be a V-Speed first. I'm going to have to ask you guys to kindly go get a room here, and you go ahead and thank anybody you need to, and then sign off for the night.
Yeah, shout out to the one that's flirting with me, my amazing girlfriend, Tia. Super supportive of my Wednesdays and running this league. And then, of course, to all the sponsors that are on the 45 car for the season, Recharge Rally, finally giving them a shout out here for AJ and Ryan. Really, they just wrapped up Recharge Rally 8, which was a huge success. So happy to see that and happy to support them on this car, along with Avid Studios, Mr. Detail, of course, Ceramic Pro Cleveland, and Cars and Wings. And then, of course, big shout out to all the league sponsors, Chapman Environmental, Enginuity, Erhardt Homes, Buttkicker, and Coastal Financial. And then I'm looking forward to watching this one back with you guys here at V-Speed. You guys always put on a really good show here for us. So I'm excited to see the highlights and see how this one played out from the broadcast standpoint. It'll be fun.
Righty, well, it's on to Gateway, 7 days time. It's an egg-shaped oval, but it's a lot flatter. Hope you bring the same attitude and maybe the same setup.
That's the goal. Hopefully we'll go ahead and do that. Looking forward to it.
Tyler Harrison, podium finish here from 13th in the points. Going to move up a little bit, and we'll move on to Gateway next week. See you. Alrighty, there it is. That's your top 3 finishers here tonight, but it was an eventful one here for the second stage of the race. We had a lot of tempers flaring up, a lot of drivers running out of racing room. It was impossible to pass Alex Gagnon. What is your take here from Darlington before we head to next week?
I think that when they got an opportunity to run about 5 laps green, we had a very competitive field, a lot of action throughout the pack, especially from like the back half of the top 10 through the the 15th range. There was a lot of action in the midfield tonight. But then we'd have a caution, we'd have a restart, and then in most cases we'd have 2 more cautions and 2 more restarts after that. So it is the nature of sometimes iRacing. These restarts can be a little chaotic, but we'll see if the field's going to get that cleaned up for Gateway next week, because those 2 tracks, I wouldn't say they run similar, but there are some similar characteristics between both places.
Absolutely. And, Worldwide Technology Raceway and Gateway, whatever you want to call it, it's a track very unique, just like Darlington. You can catch that at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on V-Speed. Go ahead and set that subscribe button and those notifications. You'll never miss a single race of the playoffs. We have it all season long here. That's going to do it for our coverage of round 1, race 1 of the playoffs from Darlington. The Southern 500, the 250 half distance, as we move on to St. Louis. For everybody at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, Logan Threlkeld, my co-commentator Alex Gagnon, and Dougie Beard providing our cameras tonight. Saying so long and stay tracking, everybody.